Arcade Heroes.
Greetings, it's Adam with ArcadeHeroes.com, and I had actually recorded a video just about the Looney Tunes trailer, but then I decided to go and check the Spooky Pinball Facebook page and realize that there's a lot of information that I was getting wrong, because they did reveal the price and such. So, starting over, let's do this again. And so, over on YouTube, let's watch the official Looney Tunes trailer, and then we'll watch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre pinball trailer. Doing it without sound because of the glorious algorithm. When I first saw this one, I thought it was a CG render, but it's obviously not. But my first impression upon seeing this shot of the playfield is that I like the layout, how it looks, like the vibe of the whole thing, where it seems to really capture the whimsical nature of Looney Tunes, and like all the artwork and the coloring. It just fits that perfectly. And having watched the original Looney Tunes cartoons when I was a kid, I mean, obviously there were the older ones from the 50s and 60s and all that stuff. I'm really glad that they're doing it based on those ones, which were the best ones, not all the new stuff that they've tried in recent years that nobody cares about. But and I assume there are clips from the cartoon on the back box and such. So the Taz spinner is cool. I'm glad that they had that. When I first heard that they were going to do Looney Tunes, it's like, I hope they have a spinning Taz, as if they don't, then they missed an opportunity. So they got it there. The only thing I would say is it needs to spin faster than that. It just seems way too slow for Taz. When he spins, he's a tornado. At 4 ramps, 4 flippers. I would assume different callouts. I like Taz being there, but this new component here, this Desert Cliff Ball Diverter, is pretty cool. I've never seen anything quite like that. I mean, I've seen some certain ball locks that have where that lines them all up at the same time at the top there, and then releases them all out into the playfield, but not in different holes. But maybe there was something out there that had done something like that in the past. I'm not an expert on all pinball machines, but here's your basic gameplay features, which pretty much fit what it just showed you on the trailer. And then it gets into the collector's edition stuff, where you get a Bugs Bunny topper, interior art blades, fluorescent plastic protectors, and much more. Game design is Spooky Luke and Corin Bug Emery, whom I'm pretty sure are long-time employees at Spooky Pinball. I don't know the details on that. I've seen some whining online before of, like, I guess it's the owner's son or something, and how dare he make a pinball machine. It's like, who cares? If they make a fun game, then why do you care who they are, or how green they might be? If it plays well, and particularly if it earns well on location, then I don't know why you need to gatekeep in that regard. But I mean, again, this looks pretty good, but who knows what actually playing it might be. Unfortunately, since Spooky Pinball doesn't ever go to any of the wider amusement events like Amusement Expo or IAPA, I rarely get a chance to play their games. I mean, I have before, like Total Nuclear Annihilation and Rick and Morty Pinball, and I played America's Most Haunted once, but it's inconsistent. Like, I haven't been able to find a Scooby-Doo pinball machine and such. But yeah, you want to play these things before you buy if you can. But yeah, that's Looney Tunes. And then if we head over here, we have Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is a different game. But when I posted about this last night on the Arcade Heroes Discord, it was like the Looney Tunes Texas Chainsaw Massacre is the joke, is having these two very different things, but it sounds like it's Texas Chainsaw Massacre Looney Tunes style, all whimsical and whatnot. But I didn't watch this full trailer here, but it does seem to be to have been given a lot more thought and editing stuff, really trying to catch that Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibe, I guess, or the horror movie vibe. I've never seen this movie, so that one I can't comment on the little Easter eggs that might be in there, but obviously both of these games are using the same layout and similar toys, but with very different themes. And this is not the first time that Spooky Pinball has done such a thing. They did so with Ultraman and Halloween, but they are a small company. Within the gaming space, we often have the term indie, an indie developer and such. In pinball, they don't use that term. They say boutique pinball creator or manufacturer. And so Spooky is a boutique pinball maker. And so where they have far fewer resources than, say, Stern Pinball or Jersey Jack, they have to repeat layouts like this, but I think they've done a really good job at that. I mean, this looks really cool, just like Looney Tunes does. And perhaps there are things like this meat grinder where the Looney Tunes version there, I would guess that they came up with a meat grinder for this first and then thought of a way to do it or adapt it for the Looney Tunes. But that's just a guess of mine. I don't know. Guess I should interview some of these people at some point in time to ask these questions. Get you some Texas barbecue. But this trailer is also a bit longer than the Looney Tunes one. And given that their name is Spooky Pinball and they've generally been geared more towards horror-themed games, I wouldn't be surprised if this is the one that they've been developing first and then got their hands on the Looney Tunes license and decided, hey, let's make the most out of both of these licenses with this same design. But that wouldn't be any surprise that they probably have given this a bit more thought to it. But there's that diverter again. So again, I think that's a cool way to do that sort of elevator ball drop lock, whatever the official term is called. And I would also assume that all sorts of clips from the movie would also be playing on the screen within the game, but interestingly enough, they don't really show that screen here or the back box. But curious about pricing and such, well, over on Spooky's I almost said pinball page, Facebook page, they posted these links showing the flyers. And so if we zoom in there, we have custom speech from award-winning voice actor Eric Bauza, who I guess must have done some Looney Tunes stuff before, but didn't look him up, so I don't know. 2,000 plus callouts featuring Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Elmer Fudd, Marvin the Martian, Tweety Bird, Porky the Pig, and many more. So that's good. I'm glad that they have that. And yeah, here you can kind of see the LCD. One complaint that I have to have about Spooky Pinball is just, if you go to their website, at the moment, none of these things are on there. But also, it's so difficult to get just photos of the cabinets. They almost never have just cabinet photos. There's always something else, or they cut the legs off. It's like, I need something like this, but in a good high resolution and a transparent background. That would help people like me trying to talk about these things for the blog and such to be able to do that better. But as you saw from the price here, they're limiting it to 888 units. Not sure why that number was picked. I guess it sounds good, 888. But they have a collector's edition. I assume this is a typo, where again, they probably were focused on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre one, because Bloodsucker edition makes more sense for Chainsaw Massacre and not for Looney Tunes. But the pricing is the same between the two, where you have these three, and it starts at $82.99 and goes up to $96.99. Which, I mean, as I've complained about plenty of times on the channel here, it's really hard to swallow as an operator, these prices for pinball machines where the starting one is at around $8,000. Now, I do understand that there is a lot that goes into these things that are built here in the United States. They're not built in China and then shipped over here, and so the costs of production are higher. But I mean, that was also the case just several years ago, where the lowest standard or pro editions were all somewhere around 5,500 to 6,200, and that was a little bit easier to justify than $8,000. $8,000 used to be the starting price for the mid-tier pinball machines, and then $10,000 and up was the limited edition or the collector's edition tier. And so now, where the lowest one is the mid-tier, what used to be mid-tier range, it's really hard, because as I have seen with my earnings, and there's plenty of videos I've posted about this, just it takes those other versions at the lowest tiers already were taking 8 to 10 years to pay themselves off on location. Now, I get the argument that, well, pinball holds its value, so you can resell it and make your money back that way if you're lucky, but that doesn't always happen with every single machine, and that sometimes there are duds that just nobody liked, nobody cared about, and the value of that particular pinball machine did not appreciate or hold its value, and it depreciates, and so you're screwed. And so without any play testing out there, because maybe they do some play testing with a local operator in Wisconsin. That's where Spooky Pinball is based, but I've never heard them share numbers. They do seem far more focused on the collector than they do the location, and that's probably just due to being a boutique, smaller company. But yeah, for an operator like myself, I would need to see some location test reports or some earnings reports to be able to say, like, hey, yeah, I'm definitely jumping on that. If it was a lower price, then yeah, it would be a lot easier for me to say, hey, I'm definitely going to sell one of these pinball machines that maybe I don't really care about anymore, and I'll pick one up. I mean, I still am tempted between these two. I think Looney Tunes would do the best in my location. I get a lot of kids in here, and so that might draw them in. And in a way, this is kind of a shot across the bow of Jersey Jack with their Toy Story 4 thing, because that is kind of close to cartoony. But and of course, this also has a better price. But yeah, it is. Again, I'm talking about from location. I know for collectors, you got a different view on this, and that's fine and everything. But yeah, it's too bad, I guess, that it'll be limited to that many. Hopefully, if I made a decision on selling a pinball machine to get this, and I could get enough to afford that, then perhaps I would jump, but I might not be able to, so I might miss out on that one. But anyways, what do you think of Looney Tunes and Pinball and Texas Chainsaw Massacre Pinball? Not both of them being the same thing. And which one would you get for your collection if you're a collector? Which one would you get if you are an operator like myself? Let me know in the comments below. And right before I end, also let me mention that the my videos for IAPA are almost completed. I'm going to do a wrap-up post, which just wraps everything up in a little bit more detail than my last overview post. And so if you're curious about all the brand new games that were announced last month at the IAPA trade show, or new games are coming to arcades in 2024, be on the lookout for that. But thank you for watching. We'll catch you on the next video.